Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Orange Head. Sorry it's been a long time, but things have happened. We've been doing lots of casting with Heroes Lounge and all sorts of other things. But we're back to give you your first look at the new hero, D.Va, who is entering the Nexus next week, but is now available on the PTR. I'm Phil, and with me, as always, is Jamie. And
Hello.
he's going to start us off by running through her basic abilities.
Her basic abilities. D.Va on her Q has boosters. Increase D.Va's movement speed by 125% for 2 seconds. Enemies that are hit take now at level 21. This is 308 damage. So not a massive amount of damage, but it's not insignificant. Great for chasing people, knocking them down, and you can boop people out the way as well. Boop me.
It's going to
Boop
boot
me.
me. I'm on cooldown. You booped me.
There we
You
go.
can only boop people
And
once, though. You kind of phase through them after that.
yeah, I mean, I guess we were talking about before we came on air, it would basically just be Chen's barrel, but on a 10-second cooldown, which would make it a bit good.
A bit awkward.
Um, on the W, we have Defense Matrix. Now, this is a really interesting ability, kind of different to anything we've seen in the game before. So it's on a 10-second cooldown. Channel a defensive field in the target direction for 3 seconds, reducing the damage dealt by enemy heroes inside it by 75%. So you have to make sure the person you want to not be hitting you so hard is inside that area. It's not a massive area, but it's big enough. And the mech can move whilst channeling, but it cannot turn, so you're stuck facing the direction.
So you do kind of an awkward dance with the other diva.
I mean, I think it's really great for just holding a choke point
Yeah,
if you just
definitely.
want to be a body there. And whilst you're getting hit by the in that defense matrix, damage dealt from the mech grants the same amount of self-destruct charge. So self-destruct is her E ability, which allows you to blow up the mech and do a massive amount of damage. So it's a 4 second, so not sort of cast time, but 4 seconds for the ability to go off. D.Va jumps out and then enters her pilot form, which anyone who's played Overwatch will be familiar with. She can either be in pilot form or mech form, and it does a massive amount of damage. And you charge that a bit like Tracer's ultimate, very similar. So by right-clicking on things and by also taking damage in the defense matrix and taking damage normally, in fact. So 100% of mech health gives you 30% of charge, but obviously you can mitigate some of that 100% damage by being defensive with your matrix.
Yeah. It is important to note that the damage from self-destruct does peter out, so it's kind of like the nukes on Warhead Junction. So it does the most damage in the middle, and then it goes out towards the edge of the radius. And it does only do 50% damage against structures, so you can't sit there and suicide bomb the towers or forts or keeps down. It's not going to be as effective.
Yeah, I mean, we were looking at that, but just trying that out because we thought it would be very good. And here we go. This is probably going to put a fair dent in my health. Yeah, and completely destroys my mech.
And after using self-destruct, you find yourself in pilot mode, as Jamie said. All you can do here, apart from, unless you choose some talents, is basically right-click on people. She does do a fair amount of damage. She does attack very quickly. But you're gonna struggle to stutter step her properly to get like full advantage of all of her shots. She is very weak in this. But shooting people does reduce the cooldown of Call Mech. So if it's destroyed normally, then you have a 40-second cooldown or 45-second cooldown before you can enter a new mech. However, if you self-destruct, then you get a new mech straight away. So those are her basic abilities. Her trait is basically that she has a mech, and that if it dies, she jumps out, as we've already seen. It is important to note that her mech only grants 50% of a normal hero's experience upon dying, and to get the full 100%, you also have to kill the pilot. So she can feed mech after mech, but it's kind of like murky in that it doesn't quite matter as much as if her and the pilot goes down.
Yeah, killing the pilot isn't difficult. She is super, super squishy. I mean, a stun and then some right-clicking on
Yeah,
her
I mean
will
it's not
will
hard, but it
finish it
does
off.
give your team the opportunity to kind of peel for you as the pilot, and you can get away and then call a mech and still deal some damage around the periphery. You can still kind of delay an objective or things like that whilst you're in pilot mode if you've got a bit of support from your team.
Yeah, her poke damage is really good in pilot mode. She does hit really, really hard, but her health is pretty much non-existent.
So those are her basic abilities. Let's have a look at her first tier of talents. So at level 1, it's all about boosters and move speed. So rushdown, if D.Va neither takes nor deals damage during boosters, its cooldown is reduced by 5 seconds. So perfect for something like Cursed Hollow, where you have a long distance to travel on foot normally and you can't mount up. You also move at minus 15% normal move speed. So you are quite slow and clunky to get around the map. So this is very useful on things like Warhead Junction and Cursed Hollow if you want to get around a bit quicker.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. I do think that she's going to be weaker on bigger maps, maybe jumping ahead of ourselves a little bit here, but her mobility is lacking. Being able to get around the map is a little bit of an issue. This does mitigate that quite a lot, rushdown. So if you find yourself on quick match now I think Warhead and this are probably the two biggest maps. I'm sure someone will correct me. But that's what I would probably pick up on one of these larger maps, just so that you can actually get to the team fights on time. You're probably going to want to have her in mid lane anyway, because she still takes ages to get about.
Yeah, definitely. Second talent, we find Hit the Nitrous. Initial speed of boosters is increased to 475%, then decays to normal boost speed over 0.5 seconds. During this time, boosters deal 100% extra damage. So this allows you to get an extra jolt away from combat, just speed away. If you say dodging a skill shot, dodging another kind of AoE based ability, say a Blizzard or Gazlo's Bomb. It also allows you to do that extra little bit of boop damage. If you're chasing someone down or if they're right in your face, you can just smack into them and kill them, or deal that extra bit of damage that will help turn the team fight to your advantage.
This is probably my favorite one. The increased speed is really, really good. I mean, it's massive, a massive increased speed. It lets you just get away from anything. Unless you're stunned or CC'd, you can just nip away really, really quickly. So, Crash Course, damage enemy heroes with boosters is a quest, and after damaging 25 heroes, each use of boosters lowers its cooldown by 1 second per hero hit. So, you get to your 25, and then you drive through the entirety of the enemy team, and you get 5 second cooldown reduction, basically. I mean, I assume if there's more bodies like Vikings or Samuros and things like that, they will further reduce that to really, really low. So it's still good.
If you play against the mythical Vikings Samuro combo, then you're all good. 2 second boosters.
With a Nova and a Misha.
Yes. that ultimate team comp. Which coming in at the fourth level, fourth talent, Pro Moves. D.Va's mech gains 2% movement speed for 1 second every time it takes damage, up to 30%. Now, I think personally this is my favorite of the tier, purely because it gives you that in combat mobility. It negates the 15% deficit you have and bumps you up to 115%, which is the same as if you were being speed boosted by a Lucio. So let's take that, and then you can see what it's like. So if I get shot by Jamie, look at me go!
Look how dancy you are.
Yeah, I've got mobility all of a sudden. I can actually achieve life goals.
I love when she sidesteps. The mech kind of crosses its little legs. It does a little sidestep. It's really cool.
So really, I think this is my favorite on level 1, just because it's the most useful in like fights. The others are kind of good for getting around the map, doing a bit of damage, getting some boops off and things like that. But really, the struggle she's going to have is moving around, being able to get the defense matrix where it needs to be, get the self-destruct where it needs to be. I think Pro Moves is really the kind of logical choice for that. I don't know if you agree, Jamie.
I prefer Hit the Nitrous. I mean, it allows you to, from miles away, miles back, to engage with your self-destruct from, absolutely massive distances away. But I do think that the Pro Moves is probably going to be the one that most people pick up. It's probably going to be the pro's choice. I mean, they even label what talents you should go for. Yeah. It's so nice at Blizzard. So level 4?
Yep.
Diverting power, increased defense matrix size but cannot move. So increase the area by is 100% wider and 25% longer.
And
But
so
D.Va,
easy to juke. I don't understand what the point of this talent is.
yeah, it's
Just,
so crap.
just like 100% wider. Okay, well they just you can get out of it so easily, especially since you have no ability to move. Like let's take it and then I'll use it on you.
No, I'm not in
Oh,
it.
then she's
Oh,
not in it anymore. Oh no, it's just what the pish?
yeah, that was. Yeah, it's bad. Don't pick it.
Yeah.
Get through this. Increase defense matrix duration by 3 seconds. Now it's already a 3 second.
It's 100% extra duration.
I mean, that's really, really, really good.
Yeah, I really like this one.
I mean, we don't need to show you what 6 seconds looks like as opposed to 3.
It's
just count 6.
You know what? I'll do it now, and then I'll just play this clip again, so you can see what it's like. The magic of editing.
The third choice here, which is probably my favorite. Defense matrix adds self-destruct charge every time an enemy hero deals damage whilst inside the defensive matrix. So it doesn't have to be to D.Va, it just has to be damage that hero is dealing. D.Va's self-destruct charge is increased by 1% up to max of 15% charge each time this is used. I really, really like this. It allows you to charge your explosion much, much quicker. It's also just allows you to do more damage by charging your. I like this. This is my favorite one.
I think this is the one. If you're gonna be, if self-destruct is what you're kind of building towards, then yeah, I think this is the one to go for. If you're having to be more of a tanky role, then get through this is better. But it's hard because by level 4 you don't really know. It's hard to gauge how your team comp is beginning to struggle, if it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think get through this is the safe pick. Fusion generator is maybe the slightly more, not necessarily high skill cap, but if you get 2 or 3 people in that and they're all auto attacking or they're dealing damage, I mean, it's any source of damage. It can auto attack.
I think the key thing to remember here is with self-destruct, when your mech gets very low on health, you can hit that E button before it actually dies, because unlike in Overwatch, when you die, you can't then set the self-destruct as you jump out. You have to do it before that. But you set the self-destruct, you jump out, the big explosion zones everyone out, and then you get another mech. So the more you have self-destruct up, the more you will have mechs available, because the more you can use self-destruct and get an instant core mech cooldown. You don't have to run around in pilot mode. And that's I think that's going to be one of the keys to D.Va. It's just that never dying aspect of her mech and the ability to harass and move people around and block damage and set off massive explosions that zone the team out without ever fully dying.
Yeah, no, it's 50%. It's a 50% death. It's half a death. That's half as much XP you're giving to the enemy team.
Yeah. Maths.
Maths, yo. I mean, we don't even have to have a maths break for that one.
And that's and that's 50% XP whilst dealing at least 1,000 damage in a massive area that the enemy have to run away from, so they're zoned out for 4 seconds, and then you come back straight away. So I think
a mech.
Yeah. So I actually, I wasn't so sure about Fusion Generator, but thinking about it more, it makes more sense to go towards that talent of never dying, being that immortal mech. So as soon as you get low, self-destruct, come back in another one, self-destruct, come back in, and just keep being there as this constant harasser.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the last one here, bring it on. Self-destruct charge rate is increased. So self-destruct charge amount gained from losing mech health is increased by 30%. Meh.
So you're doubling.
That's the opposite effect.
Yeah,
if anything.
You're doubling the charge rate of taking damage. So again, it's kind of going the same way, but you have to take that damage first.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like that.
No, let me try it. I need to get rid of. Right, so I've got no charge. So if I take that, right, shoot me.
Seems generous.
Okay, so I got 18% there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 7%. Nowhere close. So yeah, definitely aggressive. Sorry, I need to reset talents.
Choose a talent.
Moves. So yeah, fusion generator definitely gives a lot more self-destruct charge. So I think it's pretty much the only choice at this talent because of I think I don't know. Do you agree with me on this? That the never-ending mechs is basically the situation we want to get to.
Yeah, we want to never not be in a mech.
So I think fusion generator giving you so much charge on a W is really the kind of hands-down choice for level 4.
Yeah, the increased defense matrix duration is your safe choice here. Your good choice is fusion generator, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Level 7, we have, again, a little bit of a mix-up here. Coming through, knockback distance of boosters is increased by 100%, so you boop people further. Whether that's a thing you want to do or not, that I'll leave that up to you and your relationship with the mech.
I mean, we find, booping can be good and booping can be bad. I mean, you can boop people out of abilities, out of combos, saving them with a big boop.
Yeah. The
ETC,
the ETCW syndrome, as it's called.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like this one.
Yeah, I'm not so keen. I don't think it's worth it really. If you're going to boop someone, you're going to boop them. Increasing the knockback by 100% is not really going. I mean, you're not going to be booping people in such a way that you're going to need that extra distance to get them into mosh pits or into graviton surges. Or you're not playing snooker with this. You're just getting out and peeling people back, just knocking them a little bit further out of range. Dazer Zone. Enemies, heroes affected by defense matrix are slowed by 20%. I quite like this one, purely because it makes it easier to keep people in that defense matrix.
Yeah. No. I mean, we've seen how easy it is. A 20% slow isn't going to make a massive amount of difference.
But
I don't think.
Also, alongside that, it also helps with her tank capabilities. It adds to that peel arsenal. You can boop someone, defense matrix them, and give them 20%. Give the 20% slow. It helps your teammates a little bit more. Helps peel for them a little bit more. It also locks people down in team fights as well. If you want to try and get that wombo combo with the self-destruct, then you can slow them first, enabling the setup and then the self-destruct.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I still don't think it's what I would pick up at this talent tier.
Would you go for aggression matrix? Basic attacks in mech mode against heroes lower the cooldown of defense matrix by 0.25 seconds.
Yes, this is what I would. So the build's starting to come together now. So at 4, we have gone for fusion generator, defense matrix, add self-destruct charge. Then at 7, we are going for aggression matrix, lowering this cooldown of our defensive matrix. So the more we have the defensive matrix up, the more we are charging our self-destruct, the more we're getting that new mech back, and then we're just doing the whole thing again.
Yeah, definitely. W's on a 10-second cooldown. So if I use it on you, using the thing, and then I charge you, you can see it's coming back so fast because of the high fire rate. Like literally, it's back again.
And there we go, and we're charging.
So it's about halving the cooldown there, which is pretty insane, and that's just all against one target. So I don't know. I know that D.Va's auto attacks go in a cone area in front of her, so she can hit multiple targets. But I don't know if you get 0.25 per auto attack against per hero. So if you had 5 heroes in front of you, would it be like instant W back again?
I don't think so, because it says basic attacks rather than basic attack hits.
Yeah, but each I don't know, but like if each hit against a hero is a basic attack. Do you see what I mean?
See, I think each bullet leaving her gun as a basic attack.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, she doesn't have a bullet. It's not a projectile coming out. It just sprays everything in that area, and everything in that area takes damage.
Maybe. I mean, that might make it even better. I mean, it's good
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, it's good anyway. But I think it's even better against like big groups of people. Vikings in a team fight ain't got nothing.
No, exactly.
The fun option at this point is nuclear option, and increases self-destruct's detonation timer by 3 seconds. Detonation damage increased by 50%. A new mech can still be called after 4 seconds. So if we take this, have you got your self-destruct up?
I do have my
If you
self-destruct
can
up.
use it in a central area, say where I'm standing now.
Do you want me to do the normal one first?
Yeah.
Okay, so I am here. I'm using the self-destruct.
So you can see the radius there. It kind of just touched the grass around here. It was fairly big, so I'm going to come in here and stand in the same place. If you want to stand over here where I was, or like a similar location over here, because I don't want you to get hit by turrets. And then
Here?
we'll a little bit to the left, kind of on the path bit, but up a bit.
Yeah.
I can't see you. Up a bit. There you go.
There we go.
So if I use my one, you can see it's the same size, but it takes substantially longer to reach it, but 50% extra damage.
I mean, what's more interesting is that maybe if I try and race out of this. So if you set yours off on the normal one and then set it off on the 7-second cooldown.
Yeah. I have to reset my talents.
Cool.
Okay.
Ah!
I mean,
So it's not difficult to wall
it's
the light
not difficult
off.
to get out. This is the problem with self-destruct, is that it's quite easy to evade. I don't think adding on 3 seconds to the timer is gonna make it that much better, because it's still easy to get out of as it is. So adding on 3 seconds is gonna make it really easy. So you're gonna do 50% of damage, but how often are you actually gonna get that off?
Yeah, I mean, it took me about 3 seconds to walk out of it. ETC mosh pit is 4 seconds. That still gives them 3 seconds to get out of that big explosion once the mosh goes down. So even wombo comboing it, you'd need to stun lock someone for ages to get that off. It would work nicely maybe with a Malf.
Like a mosh
combo,
into
but...
a void prison. I just think having aggression matrix, having more self-destructs go off, is better than having them be bigger when they do.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
So I think aggression matrix is hands down the best. Now, again, we reached level 10 and we're talking again about being in the mech all the time with these constant self-destructs. So her 2 ultimates are very interesting. She has bunny hop, as Jamie does here, which I believe does always make him giggle like a small girl.
He's bouncing around.
D.Va's mech becomes unstoppable and stomps every 0.5 seconds, dealing 154 damage and slowing enemies by 40%. Lasts 4 seconds. And does require mech mode. She can't do it outside of the mech, although that would be hilarious. Her other heroic
It would
is...
like she's having a hissy fit that her mech's been destroyed. Why have you destroyed my mech? Why?
Big Shot, the other heroic, deals 641 damage to all enemies in a line. The cooldown of Cool Mech is reduced by 8 seconds for each enemy hero hit. So it allows you to get back in the mech quicker. But we're aiming to never not be in the mech. We're always aiming to have self-destruct up as quickly as possible so we can hit that last minute big explosion, zone people out, and then get back in the mech quickly. Because we don't have a cooldown.
Okay, so you line this up on all enemies in a line. I mean, you hit 2 or 3 of them. Great, you've done 641 damage to them. They now turn around and kill you. I mean, that's 641 damage at level 24 now. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
no.
I think Bunny Hop's just better for the unstoppable should you need to get out of dodge, for the slow, for the chase. It looks hilarious. I think it's just the better choice all round, especially staying in the mech. Look at it!
Look at he fights it around. It's a robot.
And it makes Jamie sound like a girl, so that's always fun. At 13, now, there's several talents at this level that I quite like. Expensive plating increases mech health and Cool Mech cooldown. So increase mech health by 20%, but also increases the cooldown of Cool Mech by 15 seconds. This does not decrease the amount of self-destruct charge gained. So you're increasing your health in the mech. Yes, you're increasing the cooldown of Cool Mech, but again, we're not aiming to ever need Cool Mech. We're always aiming to have self-destruct up. So having that extra 20% health allows you to be soaking more damage to get more self-destruct charge for longer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Am I talking crazy?
Yeah. No, you are not talking crazy. However, I like the next one here, emergency shielding. We spoke earlier that she plays a little bit differently in Heroes than she does to Overwatch, where you can't sort of hammer that ultimate ability, that self-destruct, as you're getting out of the mech, as it's being destroyed.
Yeah.
You still have to cast it before it dies. This emergency shielding kicks in, and it allows you to get that self-destruct off whilst the shield's up. You've got so in a 15-second cooldown, I mean, you're either going to get it or not. I don't think you're going to be cycling this very often, although you may. I think it just allows you to guarantee getting that self-destruct off at low health.
Yeah. I'm just going to reset the levels quickly just to 20, just to make the numbers a bit more sensible.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
Thank you.
Talent? Ah, that seems generous.
Because it's 459 shields, so it's 10% of her health.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad, it's not a small shield.
But you get 20% from expensive plating. So in terms of keeping you alive for longer to get the E off.
Yeah, I think they're both good. I think they're both good. I'm struggling to pick here. I like the emergency shield because
I like, as you say, it gives you that extra buffer to hammer that E to get the self-destruct off.
Yeah, that's why I like it. And the third talent.
The third one's really interesting.
So damage that against D.Va's mech, so only in mech mode here, that would deal 5% or less of its maximum health are reduced by 50%. This does not decrease the amount of self-destruct charge gained. So you're still charging really quickly, but against a Tracer, a Lucio, I mean, even an Illidan to an extent, who auto-attacks really quickly but doesn't hit particularly hard, a Twin Blades Varian here, you are charging.
Yeah, you're basically
yourself
negating.
quicker.
I mean, it's insanely strong against the Tracer, but you're basically negating a lot of auto attack damage from anyone that isn't an assassin as well. So all the mages, all of the supports who like to, if you're playing at a decent level, you're gonna be mixing in auto attacks from, regardless of which role you're playing, just to get that little bit extra damage out against the enemy team. And you can't do that against a D.Va that takes ablative armor, because they're just going to shrug it off. It's going to be hitting them for like 20, 30 hit points at a time. As you say, against the Tracer especially, like, she's a super hard counter to her.
Yeah, I mean, this would allow you against a Tracer to charge your ult really quickly, because you still charges at the same rate. You just take less damage from it.
Yeah, definitely.
All of them are good here.
Yeah, this is a really strong.
Really
I think it's a really strong talent here, and it's also a big power spike for her as well.
They're very situational. Against a Tracer, I would pick up ablative armor. I think I'm still erring towards emergency shielding over expensive plating.
I think that's one of those things that will come out in actual play, to see how, I think once you get better at gauging when to use your self-destruct, I think expensive plating will be better, because it just gives you more health. But the emergency shielding is a good safety net to have before you get that timing, or if they have stun heavy or silence heavy comps. Because if you're stunned, obviously you can't hit the self-destruct. If you're silenced, you can't hit the self-destruct as an ability. So against those sorts of teams, I think that's where the emergency shielding comes in very well.
Yeah. I mean, it gives you that little extra 10% after you die. I mean, it's like Indestructible from Joanna.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think of it in the same way. And I mean, That gets. I mean, if you don't want to set off your self-destruct, that goes off. That gives you enough time to boost away.
Yeah, true. If you haven't quite got the charge yet, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think they're both good. I struggle to say one is better than the other. I just erring perhaps towards emergency shielding
Yeah.
here.
Also, I think it depends on the type of healer you've got. Like, if you go into expensive plating, if you're with a Lucio who's by the time you've reached kind of 16 and he's got Rejuvenencia, then expensive plating, because it's a percentage-based heal, it will heal for more. So it's kind of, better at that point, maybe.
Boosting his numbers.
Yeah.
It makes your Lucio look better.
Well, yeah, but it's also it makes you tankier because you've got more health, but also he's going to be healing you for the same amount.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I see.
If you see what I mean.
Yeah, no, I see. I agree with you there. It synergizes quite nicely with some of those percent heals.
Like Shield of Hope from Oriel's another one. Storm Shield, I think, does percentage-based shielding. Things like that. I think it's really, really fine between these two talents. I think, as I say, it's one of those things that will come out in actual play as to which one you prefer and where we go from there. But let's go for emergency shielding to make Jamie happy.
Yay!
Oh, it's amazing.
So 16. This is my least favorite talent here because you have to pick a pilot talent.
This is your pilot talent. So there is like zero power spike here as far as I'm concerned, but we'll see. So Torpedo Dash. D.Va gains the Torpedo Dash ability, allowing her to dash forward and pass through enemies. It's quite good if you're going to get body blocked in as a mech and you need to escape. Say they've got a Nazebo with who's really good at zombie walls, Stitches that likes to hook you into unfathomable places, and you can't get the self-destruct off. Let's take a look at that and see what it actually looks like. So I'm just gonna I want to dash through you. Whee! Oh. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I reset cooldowns, but I didn't reset the cooldown of the torpedo rush. Especially does like a wicked sick roll.
Yeah.
Nah. I'm not really fussed about it. Again, like, our aim is to never not be in the mech. Obviously, you'll be in it sometime, be out of it sometimes, but...
I think Torpedo Dash is going to be good if you're not confident at queuing and jumping out of your mech, like self-destruct combo.
Yeah.
So if you feel that you have to walk into the team to get that off, or if you're in a situation where you have to walk into the team to get that off, where you're potentially going to be in a riskier situation or you're fighting over an objective, that could be good. Dash's pilot could be good, gets you out.
Mm-hmm.
I think...
I don't really see a situation where you need it. It's only a 12-second cooldown, and if you're that close to need it, you're probably going to die anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I agree with you.
The next talent is GGWP. A good game, well played, for those of you that don't know. Increase pilot mode basic attack damage by 75%. Participating in a takedown while in pilot mode instantly refreshes the cooldown of Cool Mech. This, I think, is my favorite on this tier. Purely because A, you're doing more useful damage outside of the mech, and B, if you do get a takedown, instantly get that mech back. So again, it's massively reducing the cooldown that you might have whilst outside of the mech. So again, trying to get that aim of us being back in the mech, building self-destruct charge as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I really like... This is what I would probably suggest picking. That's my go-to, I think, here. Nanoweave Suit is the next one. For 4 seconds after ejecting from her mech, D.Va gains 50 armor and her basic attacks grant 50% more cooldown reduction towards Coal Mech. Maybe.
I mean, this isn't bad. This will give you the survivability and will again help you get the cooldown back. But I think if you're taking D.Va in a team, you're going to be fairly aggressive because you've got the QN, the W, the self-destruct. It's all quite like engagey. It's all about initiation. So I think you should be able to have a team built around you that's also built around getting you out again. Maybe you've got an Uther that can throw heals at you and give you that armor. Maybe you've got a Mouth that can throw roots out. You know, you've got or Karazim that can peel for you by kicking them in the face repeatedly. You know, you've got a team that will work around you getting in, getting out, because that's what your assassins are going to be doing. That's what the rest of your team is going to be built around. So I think that yes, it's okay, but only if they're really focusing you after you get out of the mech. I think if you can get away with it, then GGWP is still better than Nanoweave.
I think Nanoweave's maybe your quick match talent, where you're just solo queuing.
Yeah, potentially, where you can't rely on your team to kind of peel for you or help you get out alive.
Mm-hmm. I like suppressing fire here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it synergizes quite nicely with our build.
So,
and I'll tell you
suppressing
why.
fire, pilot mode basic attacks have 20% increased range and slow enemy movement speed by 20% for 2.5 seconds.
So you drop the mech, whether you are in it as the self-destruct goes off, or whether you've queued and you've sent it off on its own, whatever. You can then be, so the range increase, you could be fairly far back, you could be slowing them and making sure they are slowed in your self-destruct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. I think it also helps you kite people around to apply more damage. It also helps you escape because you can hit them with a few auto attacks. It hits them with the slow for 20% for 2.5 seconds. It lets you get a little bit further away to escape. So, I like suppressing fire. I think if your team is being aggressive and you can rely on them to try and get a takedown with you, then GGWP is probably the best one to go for. But suppressing fire has a lot going for it. It doesn't help get the mech any quicker, but it does help you take advantage, as you say, of the self-destruct. How I see how suppressing fire synergizes with that. So actually, I'm warming to it as a talent. I think definitely one of these two. Nanoweave if you're quick match or if your team is useless at keeping you alive, and Torpedo Dash if you're bored and want to run around doing sweet dive rolls.
Yeah, I think GGWP or suppressing fire would be my two that I would go for here.
And 20 is where things get fairly interesting. So you get Stop and Pop, the upgrade for Bunny Hop. Bunny Hop deals 150% more damage if D.Va isn't moving at the moment of impact. So yeah, basically you bounce up and down in point and it does a truckload more damage. The upgrade for Big Shot, Pew Pew Pew. Instead of a single shot, Big Shot fires 3 shots over 0.5 seconds. Each shot deals 50% damage. So if you hit someone with all 3 shots, it totals to 150% of the normal damage. And I believe it will give the cooldown reduction on each shot rather than one big shot. So you will hit, if you hit a hero 3 times, you'll get 24 seconds off the cooldown just by hitting that one hero. Which is okay, but again, the whole keeping in the mech thing, self-destruct, blah, blah, blah. We won't go on about it, just again.
Yeah, I mean, if I'd gone the level 10 pilot ultimate, I would probably pick this up. Because you're not using that ability to do damage. I mean, it does do damage, but you're using that ability to reduce the cooldown of your mech.
Yeah. Yeah, anything which increases the cooldown ability is always good. So yeah, I think if you wanted to take the big shot at 10, then picking up this at 20 is not a bad move.
No, not at all. Concussive Pulse, it basically gives you, it's basically Lucio's Q? Yeah, Lucio's Q. It's like a little knockback.
How do you use it?
So you have to be a pilot.
Oh, pilot.
Yeah, it's another escape when you're in pilot mode. There we go.
That was boring, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
it
cool.
does mean that if you've taken the roll at 13 and then this at 20, or the roll at 16, sorry, and then this at 20, it means you have a Q and a W as a pilot, as well as your cooldown mech. So, whole suite of abilities.
Yeah. You should never be using, because you should always be in your mech.
You should never do it. Yeah, it's okay. I can kind of see it. If you're really struggling to stay in your mech in quick match, then perhaps go for it. But we really shouldn't be having these issues in a proper team setting or in Hero League even, because you should have a healer that's looking after you.
No, I 100% agree.
At 20, the best talent by far, just because of the name and also what it does, is Mecha Fall. Call Mech is instant and can target a location. Upon landing, the mech deals 461 damage to enemies in the impact area. So if we set this off, after 4 seconds, I get my Call Mech here, and as you can see, I can now drop it in an area. So if Jamie comes over here, I want to drop it on top of him. Deals 443 damage. You're teleported to that location, and you can start doing more mech things.
I mean, it's a nice little get out of jail free card as well.
Yeah, it gives you a little teleport as the pilot. So I think you might be able to go over walls. Let's give that a try. So we'll set that off. Yeah, so I can escape over the wall here with the Mecha Fall. That's really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically Bolt of the Storm plus.
Yeah, it's quite short range, so you can only go over little walls, but it just gives you that little bit of escape as the pilot. You do have to survive the 4 seconds before the explosion goes off, but that shouldn't be too difficult, again, with the help of your team. And then you're straight back in the mech doing mech things, getting more charge so you can set off the self-destruct. I think, hands down, it's probably the best option. Unless you've got, again, solid wombo. If you've already got wombo combo with your self-destruct, then you might be able to set something up with the stop and pop from the bunny hop. If you pick that up, let's see how much damage that does. If you can do it normally, and then...
Oh, I've got... Okay, I'll do it normally now. Right, give me 2 seconds. Let me pick my sweet talents.
Choose a talent.
Bunny hop. And stop and pop. So this is stop and pop. So it's hitting for 329.
Yeah. And without it?
Without it.
Talent. That seems generous. Choose a talent.
If you walk near me, then I can jump up and down on you. So 329 with stop and pop, without 132. So it's quite a decent amount of damage. You know, it hits how many times? 8 times every half a second for 4 seconds. So it hits 8 times, does 300 damage each time. So it's not bad. That's over 2,000 damage.
In a fairly substantial, I mean, almost exactly Mosh-sized AoE.
Yeah, it's almost like they planned it.
I mean, yeah, I would probably go for Mecha Fall here.
I think Mecha Fall's the funner talent, and also just gives you that little bit of utility of being able to call it a distance away to avoid something. But stop and pop, if you've got that wombo set up, you can stop and pop people, then you can set the self-destruct down whilst they're still slowed, or people can, whilst they're still stuck in roots, you can combo stop and pop damage, doing 2,500 damage, and then set the bomb off on top of them for another 2,500 damage. And, you know, no team is going to survive that if you can keep them all within the radius.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can wipe out teams with that combo.
Yeah, definitely. But it does require you to have that lockdown.
Yeah, I mean, probably wouldn't pick it up in a quick match setting. No, if you're building a team around
if you build into it with the Gazlo or a Zeratul VP or a Mosh roots, anything like that, then, you know, stop and pop into the bomb is probably going to be your go-to wombo combo. But otherwise, Mecha Fall, I think, is just it's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty decent instant damage. It's 400 damage, plus you're then right in their face, or you can use it as a slight escape. It does have a 45-second cooldown, but that's basically just the Call Mech cooldown, as far as I'm aware. And yeah, so that's D.Va, I guess.
Yeah.
Anticlimactic endings for the win. If you liked this video or have any comments, then hit the comment section down below this video and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, then hit the thumbs down and still leave a comment letting us know what you'd like us to do differently. We will hopefully be playing D.Va on stream over at twitch.tv/orangehead. Hopefully soon, possibly during the PTR phase, maybe once she comes out, we'll actually get some games on her. If you want to follow us on Twitter, follow us on Twitter, then up there you can see our Orange_head Twitter and Facebook, Orangehead Gaming. That's about it, really. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.